Okay, before we start this video up, right? I would just like to say that it's a lot of content creators out there in the world, and they need to worry about their own people. They need to worry about their own problems. They need to worry about their own youth. They need to worry about their own criminality. They need to worry, and instead of worrying about black people and what black people is doing and where black people is going, you need to worry about your own people and what they are doing.
Asian places because they can't raise their children correctly like Cyrus Belton's mother. His father wasn't around, but he came around when it came to collecting donations like the grifters they are. Evidently, when you allow your kids to carry weapons, not books, the Asian stores, which have to defend their children from your irresponsible parental raising, have to deal with you. Well, apparently he stood up for what was right, this Asian store owner. And hold on, there's more coming. I had to cut this video because, you know, black fatigue.
Which one going?
I don't agree with the Asian store owner. The best way to do it is lock your door. Don't, well, I guess he was afraid they're going to smash it. I don't know. But when it comes down to black fatigue, the best kryptonite you can do is three things. Their baby mama, tell them they're buying Jordans. Call the police, that's another kryptonite. Or for some odd reason, I hate to say it, tell them you're going to cut their EBT funding. Oh man, that makes them run. Anyways, so I had to cut this video for the obvious reasons because
So this content creator is called Jerry the Big Mouth. That's his name. That's the name he go by on the internet. But what's crazy about this guy right here is you have so much criminality in your own people. You really do. You know what I'm saying? So before you worry about fixing your face or your mouth to say anything about what black people is doing, you need to worry about your own people. So I can spin this story any way that I want to. I can go to just the public sector and we can look at your people. I can. You know what I'm saying? Since you want to talk about black criminality and black fatigue, I can go into just your people out in the street. But no, on this time, Big Mouth Jerry, that's your name. This time, we just going to stick to the news. And let's see what your people doing in the news. How about that?
They have their hubs in Los Angeles, Texas, Miami, Atlanta, Chicago, New York. They operate in all the cities because they're trying to make as much profit as they can, and they're also taking advantage of the addicted population. This is a national security, public health emergency. Cartels have left a trail of blood and intimidation with their ruthless acts of violence all over. The cartels engage in beheadings, car bombings, dissolving humans in acid, mass murder, torture, bombings, and political assassinations, right? They want control. Their actions are consistent with the behavior of traditional terrorists, like I said, Al-Qaeda, ISIL, and others, and the Mexican government has been bribed at the highest levels. These cartels are actually operating like terrorists, and shame on the Mexican government.
Corruption is rampant. I mean, you look at the recent indictment of the 10 individuals to include the governor of Sinaloa, right? Obviously, they've been protecting bad guys forever. So let's see what the Mexican government does about removing those people. We want them back in America to face justice. Now that they're terrorists, they should be treated like terrorists. This is ISIS right over our border. This is Al-Qaeda. This is Hezbollah. We put a little more pressure on the Mexican government to use military capabilities to decimate their ability to create these poisonous substances in these labs. The systemic corruption in Mexico at the highest levels of the government has been going on.
Now, that'll never happen. You know what I'm saying? Because the cartels are so rooted in drug trafficking that they have too much power. You know what I'm saying? They have a whole lot of power. But as an American person, as I'm looking at this issue, do you know that half of the drugs come from the cartels? Do you know that? The only reason why it's a large percent of drugs in this country is because of the cartels. Who does that come from? That come from black people? You know what I'm saying? Look how differently America would be. I would love for my people not to have access to no damn drugs. I'm telling you that as a black man. You know what I'm saying? I would love my people. We don't have the boats. We don't have the labs. We're not into smuggling. You know what I'm saying? We're not into none of that stuff right there. But who is?
States has taken a new turn. Traffickers who are no longer willing to risk the heavily policed Florida coast are taking a more direct route through Mexico. And as David Dow reports, police are having a tough time keeping up.
In the states that border Mexico, major drug seizures have become increasingly commonplace. In just 4 months, police in the Los Angeles area have filled up 4 vaults with cocaine, more than $1 billion worth.
We have here over 5.
That's basically all the drugs that we got here in America. You know what I'm saying? They can say whatever they want to say, but that's basically how the drugs are getting into America. Black people, we don't make drugs, we use them.
5,000 pounds of cocaine. Our vaults are overflowing.
In fact, 3 times more cocaine is being intercepted along the border than a year ago, sometimes even in tanker trucks. Evidence, say authorities, of a new turn in the drug trail from South America. Agents say that increased drug patrols off Florida are prompting...
Hey, Big Mouth, this is what you need to worry about in your community before you talk about black people. Before you talk about black frustration and black fatigue. You know what I'm saying? Black people is the problem wrong with America. Nah, you need to worry about your own people because y'all got a lot going on of criminality that y'all giving into. Every race of people has criminals. They do. You know what I'm saying? They do. But when we start talking about y'all, it's on a whole different level.
Last month, authorities tracked down a cartel leader accused of running a gruesome infant trafficking ring in northern Mexico. Now, her name is Martha Alicia Mendez Aguilar, and senior intelligence officials tell CBS News she's part of the Jalisco New Generation cartel, that's also known as CJNG. Mendez is accused of luring a handful of pregnant women to remote areas where she allegedly directed traffickers to perform dangerous and illegal C-section operations on the women, killing the mothers and then allegedly harvesting their organs post-mortem, placing their newborns on the black market, according to senior.
We don't have no black market. We're not doing anything like that. We're not getting into, you know what I'm saying? So you want to talk about criminality and crime, you know what I'm saying? And then you want to look at black people like y'all innocent and y'all don't do nothing. Is this right?
Intelligence officials. The officials also say the infants were sold to couples here in the United States for as much as 250,000 pesos, or roughly $14,000 each. Mexican authorities were tipped off by intelligence provided by the National Counterterrorism Center, and senior intelligence officials tell us this case was propelled forward by that executive order back in January, directing the State Department to designate.
So before you talk about black people, won't you worry about human trafficking? Won't you worry about that amongst your own people? You know what I'm saying? You want to talk about black fatigue and black frustration. We tired of drug trafficking, and we're tired of human smuggling. We're tired of organs harvested. It is so much criminality that you could be talking about that comes from your people that y'all need to correct y'all selves. But no. It's more easier to talk about black people. It's more easier to talk about the black youth. You don't want to go into your youth. You don't want to talk about your youth. You know what I'm saying? But it's more easier to play the game of projection like everybody, like blacks is the only one that commit crime. White people don't, in your eyes, sir, black people don't, white people don't commit crimes. Asians don't, there's no other race of people that's committing crimes. Just black people.
Fentanyl is the threat like we've never seen before. The Mexican cartels, Sinaloa and CJNG, are priority number 1 of the DEA. It's shattered families, it's devastated communities, and it has challenged law enforcement at every level. The American people expect and deserve the DEA to eliminate this threat, and that is exactly what we are doing.
Under construction. Can you tell me where this is and what's going on and why this is important?
Well, under the Biden administration, 4 years of this disaster, they traffic children, they traffic women, and they traffic men to that particular place. They had safe houses on that particular place where they were kidnapping and extortion and migrants and crossing them to that particular mountain. That gap was open. The Democrats in Congress voted to not close that gap because they say that it was involving and hurting the wildlife. Now the Trump administration comes in, completely builds the wall, shuts down the wall, sends the National Guard of Mexico to the other side, safeguards on the other side also, and stop the trafficking, the massive trafficking of children and abuse of women and abuse of men on this particular side. So it is a win-win for the Trump administration on building that particular side of the wall, stopping the trafficking, and also.
So it would be very good for you to use your platform to talk about the dysfunction, talk about the criminality, talk about the debaucherous nature of your own people's crime, because that's a problem. That's a problem here in America. But you don't hear black people running around talking about Mexican fatigue, Mexican frustration. You don't see black people doing that. You know what I'm saying? We mind our own business. You see all black content creators, you see we getting at our own people, talking about our own problems, trying to heal the hearts and the mind of our own people. What about y'all? Big Mouth, I've looked at your platform. I've looked at all of your work. All you got on your mouth is black people. So before you worry about black people, you need to worry about your own people. That's the whole point of me making this video. Since you want to demonize black people and say that we're so violent and we're so evil and y'all don't commit no crime. No, let's get back into this. We're not finished yet.
Meantime, Border Patrol beefing up the number of agents to combat human smuggling rings. Just this week, officials say a big rig was packed with migrants just north of the border in Texas. That comes just 1 week after a Texas woman was charged in the deaths of 7 people whose bodies were found inside of a shipping container at a rail yard, as officials point to a shocking number of stash houses discovered in Laredo. Senior border correspondent Ali Bradley is live for us in Del Rio, Texas. So, Ali, what are your official sources telling you?
Yeah, hey, Nicole, sources telling me right now that a new wave of Border Patrol agents are heading to the active human smuggling corridor. This as the 200 that were detailed there are coming up on their 30-day detail. So they can either re-up for another 30 days or they can cycle out.
And the saddest thing about human trafficking, modern day slavery, is it just doesn't affect America. It just doesn't affect Mexico. It affects both of them. You know what I'm saying? Because you got it on both sides. You got people here in America smuggling Americans to Mexico. Then you got Mexicans in Mexico smuggling Mexicans to America. It just don't make no sense. But you want to sit up here and talk about black problems, black criminality, black dysfunction, and you have so much in your own race that you could sit up here and protest and talk about, besides from talking about black people. Let's continue.
You guys that are coming to help out with the issues there. So why are they heading there? Well, the illegal activity continues on because just this week, Texas DPS says a Mexican national was arrested in Webb County after troopers found 20 illegal immigrants hidden inside the sleeping area of a semi-truck on I-35, including 4 minors from Mexico and Guatemala. The driver allegedly tried to run but was quickly taken into custody. And we learned exclusively of a stash house with 41 illegal immigrants inside. Also busted in Laredo late last week. DHS saying, quote, on May 22nd, 2026, HSI Laredo reported the criminal arrest of Martin Martinez Padron, an illegal alien from Mexico, and Valeria Bueno, a United States citizen, for alien smuggling and the administrative arrest of 41 illegal aliens during an enforcement operation at a suspected illegal alien stash house located in Laredo, Texas. Now, the agency is saying that the federal prosecution for these stash house operators has been secured. HSI is the one handling the investigation alongside Border Patrol and Texas DPS. Now, we talked with the former Border Patrol chief, Jason Owens, who says that the cartel is behind these stash houses and the movement of the people inside. Take a listen.
Anything coming across the border illegally, any illicit activity that takes place, especially over in Mexico, is controlled by the cartels. And so you're going to have to, in some form or fashion.
And me and you both know that's what it is right there. You scared to talk about the cartel. You won't talk about the problems. You scared of your own people. You'll say you're not going to address your own people. I can tell you right now that the cartels are so powerful. The only thing that I can compare them to is a corporation. The corporations in this country run and rule every single thing because they got all the power, they got all the money, and then they got all the political power as well. They run America. The same thing with the cartels. They're up. They got power. So you scared to talk about the dysfunction in your own race. So deflection, Black people is the problem. Black people is the reason why this. Black people is the reason that. Nah, let's get more into this. Big mouth. That's what you call yourself. You say you got a big mouth, but you don't talk about problems in your own nationality. You worry about other people. And black people, we ain't got nothing to do with no human trafficking. We ain't got nothing to do with no drugs. We're not off the coast of all these damn oceans trafficking in drugs into America. I say to you again, I wish that they would stop every bit of drugs that come into this country. Why? Because my God does not like to see his people going off on drugs. It's a problem. But instead of me sitting up here and saying, oh, I got Mexican frustration from all the drugs and my people going crazy, I have to deal with this. You know what I'm saying? I have to deal with the drugs that's smuggled into this country with my people using the drugs going crazy. So you're part of the problem in my group of people. You're part of the problem. But instead of talking about y'all problems, you want to push it and deflect all on black people as if we're the biggest problem. No, we are not. Every single people, every single ethnicity, every single race of people in this country has a form of criminality. Form. What does that mean? It's a percent of every race of people in this country that give into crime across the board. You see content creators like me, we talk about the issues of our own communities to help our own people. What about y'all? Y'all scared of y'all own people because you know better. Y'all scared that y'all people will do something to y'all about the things that you're saying. So to stay relevant and to still stay into the algorithm to where you can have people pulled in to your channel and your platforms, you talk about black people and you scared to talk about your own. Let's get more into this.
Walk inside of the business and see the U.S. entrance up close. DOJ officials say the tunnel is sophisticated and believed to be the work of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. It had electricity, ventilation, and a makeshift rail system. The tunnel was almost 2,000 feet long and about 55 feet deep. The U.S. Attorney's Office says authorities had been surveilling this location for about 6 months, but it was on Friday they say the suspects tried to use it and move its first shipment of narcotics through and into the U.S. 4 people are now charged in connection with this tunnel, including 2 men from San Diego. They are suspected of planning to distribute more than a ton of cocaine worth roughly
I don't think that African Americans have international crime. I don't think so. I don't think that we go to other countries and we have syndicates and we have mafias and we have gangs that control and sell and do things in other countries. I don't think we have that as black people, but y'all do.
Drug cartel. The spokesman for the NDLEA, Femi Babafemi, released a video showing the moment the Nigerian and Mexican cartel members were busted. Let's take a look.
It's not African Americans over in other countries committing crime. I don't think so. You don't have you take all the Crips and you take all the Bloods and we're not in other countries committing crime, selling drugs. We're not doing any of those things. But more again of this deflection game that you love to play. We're going to call you Jerry the Big Mouth because I think your name is Jerry the Big Mouth. So instead of you worrying about y'all problems, what y'all doing internationally, black people the problem, black people the reason. No, we get the drugs. You know what I'm saying? I already told you. My God don't like his people on drugs. We are the chosen people of God. We're not supposed to be on drugs. But the drugs come here and you see how we start acting. Why is that?
Well, kudos to the...
So that's international crime. Internationally. going to another country and destabilizing the people who live there, getting them hooked up on drugs just to make money. That's not black people doing that. We would never do nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Nigeria is already struggling. You know what I'm saying? What them people need drugs for? International crime. But let's get more into this.
NDLEA. Well, a meth lab in a remote forest in Ijebu, Ogun State. Sorry. Run by Nigerians and Mexicans. This isn't small time. This is the largest meth operation ever discovered in Nigeria. The NDLEA says they spent months gathering intelligence before the raid. They didn't just hit the lab. They also arrested Anochili Innocent, the alleged mastermind, at his home in Lakawe, international drug cartel.
Now, notice how I directed this video. Remember, I can direct this video anywhere I want to. And I never brought in trying to deflection game, saying, oh, well, you know, all Hispanics are evil and all this. I never said nothing like that. I'm talking about your criminality, something that you should be focused on and your own people, but you are not. You're worried about another race of people, criminality. Everybody has criminality. The difference between you and me is I'm not scared to talk about the criminality amongst my own people. I'm not really worried about the crime in white people, because that's white people problem. It really is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about the crime in the Asian community, because that's Asians people problem. I'm worried about black crime. I'm going to call it out. I'm going to say when my people are wrong. I'm going to tell my people what they need to do. I'm not going to hide behind anything. And I'm damn sure not going to play this projection game worrying about other people. I'm going to worry about black people. That's what I'm going to worry about, and whatever's affecting black people. And when we're wrong, I'm going to call it out, something that you know nothing of.
Setting up shop in Nigeria forests, that's the reality at this point. This major drug bust comes as the commander of the United States Africa Command, General Dagvin Anderson, made a shocking revelation that a 35-ton shipment of cocaine from South America, valued at $1 billion, was caught on its way to West Africa. Speaking on Tuesday before the Armed Services Committee, he went on to state that terrorists are also using drug trafficking to make money to run their operation. Let's take a look.
There was an interdiction based on some intelligence that we were able to provide that the Spanish interdicted a shipment of cocaine that was 35 tons of cocaine. We believe that's about $1 billion of street value. We believe that's the largest interdiction in history. That came out of South America. It was transiting along the west coast of Africa. And so we're seeing more of that drug trafficking coming in, and the terrorist organizations are helping transit that. They're getting payments through that, and there's a symbiotic relationship that money then comes back to our hemisphere, to those drug cartels, but also helps provide fuel for those terrorists. Another area that I think is important to highlight is that in the last 18 to 24 months, we have assisted in, or at least tipped off, many partner nations to drug activities and labs in their country. In this time, 11 of the 12 drug labs that have been interdicted have had Mexican cartel members on site.
Bimbai, these comments come on the heels of America's growing presence here.
Now that's crime international, right? Let's go back to American soil. Let's come back over here, because that's international. That's crazy right there. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy right there. But let's look more into this, since you don't worry about your own people's criminality and crime, and you don't call none of that stuff out, because you have your bias. You know what I'm saying? You have your bias, but then again, you have your racism with you. You have your colorism with you, and you have your hatred towards black people. That's the only reason why you be talking about us like that. That's the only reason why you keep us in your mouth, and you're not gonna call out the cartel. You ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna call out the drug trafficking. You ain't gonna call out the human trafficking. You ain't gonna call out the smuggling. You ain't gonna call out none of that stuff, but you gonna worry about some black people and what they doing in America. That makes no sense.
11 of the 12 drug labs that have been interdicted have had Mexican cartel members on site, to include the largest drug lab that had ever been disrupted in South Africa, that there were Sinaloa cartel members on site.
What's the destination of those drugs?
Those drugs are destined for the Middle East, for Europe, but we're also seeing them then come in through the northern route back into America. As we have applied pressure on the southern border, they're finding other means to bring those drugs into our nation.
The Iranians are in their caves taking a lot of notes.
Right now, we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're respected all over the world. You saw that with China just recently. You saw that in Venezuela. You saw that right now in Iran. Everything's gone. Their Navy's gone. Their Air Force is gone. Just about everything. The only question is, do we go and finish it up, or are they going to be signing a document? Let's see what happens.
The president earlier
beefing up the number of agents to combat human smuggling rings. Just this week, officials say a big rig was packed with migrants just north of the border in Texas. That comes just 1 week after a Texas woman was charged in the deaths of 7 people whose bodies were found inside of a shipping container at a rail yard, as officials point to a shocking number of stash houses discovered in Laredo. Senior border correspondent Ali Bradley is live for us in Del Rio, Texas. So, Ali,
arrested, but it spans 3 states: New York, South Carolina, and Georgia. In fact, in Georgia, it has become the logistic hub of all kinds of cartels. And we'll talk about the cartel kidnapping being the 3rd highest profit. We'll tie in the girl from NBC. What's fascinating also is California, 600 arrests. 2 days ago. 600 arrests, human trafficking, drugs. Are you hearing about this? Of course not. Because the Mockingbird media, they're in on the scams. They're in on the scams from the NGOs. They're in on the scams that has added $30 trillion of debt in 15 years. Started by that bust out Barack Obama and following through by the dimwit in diapers, that stumbling, bumbling moron, thief, traitor Joe Biden, who stole the election. The evidence is out everywhere. And I still have morons in Illinois and Chicago when they listen to AM 560, The Answer Live. By the way, go to Sean Thompson's show if you miss it. That text, there's no evidence. You know why? Because they like to wallow in the money that's sloshing around. They like the crime. They like the girl that got punched in the face yesterday because she was working at UIC, and the perpetrator, after he called her to see you next Tuesday, told her, what are you going to do about it? Because he knows with these Democrat judges and these Democrat AGs, he'll be back out on the street in hours, even if they pick him up. But Trump is crushed.
Hold up. Did you say your whole emphasis was on us raising our children? Let's look at your children real quick. But in your eyes, young black people are the only ones that steal. We're the only ones that steal, right? We're the only ones that's cutting out in the world, right?
World Cup celebrations take a wild and dangerous turn in SoCal Saturday afternoon. This was the scene in Huntington Park, where hundreds of Mexico fans gathered after the team's win over South Korea. They took over an intersection and watched as cars performed donuts for the crowd.
But black kids are the only people in America that have a takeover. We the only ones. You see, like, we're the face of crime, even though everybody's doing it. You see that? You see how it's so easy to debunk all the things that you talking about the black community, because your people is doing the same thing. The crime, the criminality amongst your people, they're doing the same thing as my people, but my people is the face of crime? Doesn't make any sense.
Others decided to make a little noise for their team.
Hey, man, it's a little bit out of hand, but look, it's the World Cup, man. It's every 4 years. We're going for the gold, and we're going for it all.
Let's rewind the clock. Just hours before, we were at Plaza Mexico in Linwood as thousands of Mexico fans gathered to watch the game.
Concentration and the tactics is impeccable.
Their faces all locked onto the same screen, hopeful Mexico would come out on top, and they did.
Hey, whoever wants to bring Mexico, Mexico got it! Vamos, Mexico!
Mexico needs a competitor. We need a real challenger for Mexico.
Bring on the Brazil, bring on Spain, bring on Germany.
We want to see them all.
In anticipation of crowds and celebrations, law enforcement in riot gear closed down several streets in Huntington Park, but all the action was a couple blocks away. This street takeover.
Oh, you want to talk about black criminality, huh? That's what you want to talk about, huh? But once more again, black kids in America is the only one that's out here committing crimes. From your saying, you know what I'm saying? Raise your kids right, teach your kids how to be raised. But look at your kids. Look at y'all kids. You will never say nothing about this. You will always hide and run from this topic and always use this great game of projection away from your own people and your own criminality. But remember what you said, Jerry, Big Mouth, that black people is the only ones out here in the world committing crime, since you can't look at your own criminality and your own people. Let's look at yours for a little bit. Remember, Jerry, the Big Mouth, you said that black people is the only people that's loud, that's ghetto, that's ratchet. Remember you said those things? Remember you was talking about black fatigue and black frustration?
Stop.
I would like to take this time to talk to all my American brothers across the board of whatever nationality that they are. I'm against all crime. I don't care who it come from. First it comes my God, because he's above everything to me. You know what I'm saying? First it comes my God, then it comes my people, then it comes my country. I care about America. I love America. I love the people who live here. I want to see every American person living good, and being free. So we talk about all criminality from all sides because we denounce all criminal activity and criminal behavior. It doesn't matter what nationality they is. If you love America, you're going to fight for America. If you love America, you're going to try to build America up instead of tearing America down. I'm against all crime. Say it to you again. I'm against all crime across the board. It doesn't matter who's doing the crime, what was done in the crime. This is a land of laws. If you don't know anything about America, I'm teaching you something now. This is a land of laws, regulations, and rules. So everything has to be accounted for. Now, if you say that you love America, you say that you love Americans, you will see crime as crime across the board. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. It don't matter that the white people doing it. It's still crime. Doesn't matter that it's the Asians doing it. It's still crime. Doesn't matter that black people are doing it. It's still crime. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter that Mexicans are doing it. Why? Because it's still crime. You know what I'm saying? I love my country. This is my country. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at all the criminality and I'm against all of it. I hope they lock up all of them up. I hope they make the law so damn strict to where a criminal wouldn't even think about doing a crime. But I live in the real world.
Me quitó la cadena. Que se la regrese. Le voy a hablar a la policía. Dame mi cadena o le habla a la policía. Llévala. Dame mi cadena. Llévala. Tómale las placas. Las placas. Con las placas tengo. Graba las placas. Pero las placas. Habla a la policía ahorita. Okay. Graba las placas. Okay. Grábalos a ellos. Sí, ya los grabé. Grábales la cara. Ya están grabados. La policía te los va a llevar, cabrón.
Remember, Big Mouth, you said that black people the only one. You said black people is the only one out here acting ghetto, acting wild, cutting it up. It goes across the board for anybody and everybody who live here in America. So since you think black people is your problem, I'm gonna let your own brother. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video because I'm getting bored of it. You know what I'm saying? You're grown enough. You know what I'm saying? We're around the same age. I might be a little bit older than you. You should know better than that. You know what I'm saying? You should not give in to the narrative that they're trying to push about black frustration when you need to worry. You seen what happened to Charlie Kirk. You know what I'm saying? You need to worry about your own people. You need to worry about your own crime. You need to acknowledge what your people are doing. You know what I'm saying? Instead of hiding behind black people. You need to stop doing that. You know what I'm saying? You need to grow up. You need to look at the world that you look at in and acknowledge what is happening. Once more again, your brother Israel, my name is Jehoshaphat Israel, the man of God. And I'm against all crime. I don't care who doing it. I hope they lock them up forever. I hope they don't never get no drugs in this country. I hope they never stop. I hope they stop stealing cars. I hope they stop stealing people. I hope they stop breaking in people's homes. I want them to stop robbing the bank. You know what I'm saying? I want them to stop getting at the bars and getting into bar fights. I want them to stop giving into domestic violence against their own families. I want all crime to stop. I don't care who doing it. And I'm not going to sit up here and look at the face of crime and be like, oh, well, you know, only white people do the crime. Oh, white people are so bad. White people, this is only white people doing crime. I would never do that because that is a lie. That is not the truth. I would never sit up here and say, well, you know, I got Mexican frustration. I got Mexican fatigue, and Mexicans are the only ones that's doing crime. That is a lie. You know what I'm saying? That is a lie from the pit of hell. Everybody is involved in this. And if you ask me, all of them should go to jail. They should learn their lesson. They should make the law so damn harsh to where when they do decide to take their dumb ass out there and break the law, I wouldn't have to worry about them in society. Wouldn't have to worry about them because they're going to have to deal with the law that they broke being locked up and incarcerated. So if you pick up anything on this video, know that you're not innocent. You know what I'm saying? Your people are not innocent. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is involved in crime. Everybody. And since your people is involved in crime, you should worry about your people being involved in their crime. Because over here on this side, I'm worried about my people and their crime. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to try to paint black people as, oh, we don't commit no crime and we not no criminals and we ain't did no crime. It's a certain sector of black people that'll always be locked up. They will. You know what I'm saying? They will. And they choose that for their lives because everybody is given a choice. Everybody is given a choice. They are. And everybody has decisions to make. Is it harder to climb out the ghetto? Yes, it is. Is it harder to climb out of poverty? Yes, it is. But it is possible. So I don't want to hear nothing you talking about if you're not talking about your own people criminality. Let's go back to it. Your brother.
See, there's a saying in Spanish that is, el peor enemigo de mexicano es otro mexicano, which means the worst enemy for Mexicans is another Mexican. And it's true. You see the way...
Did you catch what he said? He said, and that goes across the board for all people. You know what I'm saying? A white man's worst enemy, even know that he would like to play the game of deflection, is another white person. Asian person's worst enemy, you know what I'm saying? His worst enemy. It's not black people. It's another Asian person. That's why they always beefing like that. You know what I'm saying? This goes across the board for all people. I don't care who you are. You know what I'm saying? Living in this country. Let's go back to your brother and what he said about your race of people. I'm not Mexican, so I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but he knows, just like you know.
Saying in Spanish that is, el peor enemigo de mexicano es otro mexicano, which means the worst enemy for Mexicans is another Mexican. And it's true. You see, the way we grew up is, as a minority, is that our grandparents and our parents, they made us like that. Yes, I'll say it, I don't give a fuck. They told us that the system is corrupt and it's for the gabacho, that you're never going to be able to get ahead, you're never going to be able to do nothing because the system is for them. So it kind of fucks you up. You get into either a life of crime or you just get a job that ain't nada. You start having a bunch of kids, y valió verga. Now you're stuck in that system. You're on food stamps, on housing, and all that, jale. Because, you know, you ain't never going to be able to do nothing because it's a white man's world anyways. It's not right. That's not true. You see, like, everybody complains that most cops are white. But when somebody from the community wants to be a cop to help the community, they jump on him. Oh, ese güey es vendido, güey. He's no good, güey. So no vale verga. Then they're fucking saying, hey, but we're not all criminals. Why are they treating us like criminals? But when somebody wants to help you, you fucking hate them. Same thing with Vato from the Border Patrol. He's doing it for his family, maybe get ahead, go to the FBI or something later. I said, well, no vale verga, güey. So he forgot where he came from. Or you're a business owner. Now you're a business owner. You're up here and always, I'm on ese way. They think they can take advantage of him. It can be a piggy bank. Nah, we no got pedo, güey. He has a business. He's got money, güey. Now knowing that to own a business is actually more stressful than work for somebody. Right? Hey, wait, can you sign for my, you have a business, can you sign for my card? Because I don't have good credit. You know what, I can't, fool. I'm trying to, pinche mamón. You forgot where you came from, pinche vendido, güey. You're trying to be white. Yeah. The worst enemy for a minority isn't a minority. Like that. You see, they call themselves progressives, but they want you to fucking think about stuff that happened a long time ago. You cannot fix the past. You cannot do nothing about the past. If you want to, you can be aware of it. You can't do nothing about it, so why dwell on it? They think like high school kids, right? You know people in your life, they're already in their 40s and their 50s. They never owned a goddamn thing. They don't own a house. They still rent. They ask you for money, but shit. But they're with the huelga and with the resistance. They ain't doing shit. You're gonna be like them, still thinking about stuff that you can't do nothing about, trying to reclaim something that you can't. Because she's gone, man. Or are you going to be the new one? Are you going to be successful? The way for Raza to be successful, for more Raza to be successful. It ain't going to happen thinking like that. They go to college, they come back thinking that this is the worst place in the world, caring more about skin color than about getting ahead. It ain't going to work. Forget about them. Forget about what they think about you or what they say about you. Mandalos a la verga. They're going to talk about you behind your back anyways because you didn't help them get that bitch-ass car. All right? Who's a real vendido? The ones that think like in the past? The ones that are trying to keep you down on food stamps? Or the ones trying to...
So, Jerry, oh, my bad. Your name is the Big Mouth, Jerry. So, Jerry, I hope that you learned something from this video because I did this video out of compassion and out of love and in peace. I hope you learned something in this video because this video was directed towards you and people like you. Before you come out here on James Brown Internet and worry about black people, worry about your own criminality, worry about your own people, call out some of those things in your own race of people. If not, you're just a coward and you're playing the game of projection. It's like a magician. You know what I'm saying? A magician always tries to hide the damn whatever he's showing you right in front of your face. You know what I'm saying? They say the hand is quicker than the eye. That's what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You're projecting off of black people when you need to worry about your own people. In fact, you know what? To be even to meet me right here in the middle, don't even worry about my people or your people. Worry about both of us. Worry about all crime. Worry about all crime. You know what I'm saying? You want to talk about crime. Crime doesn't have a color, it doesn't have an age, it doesn't have a face, it doesn't have a race. It's crime, you know what I'm saying? It goes across the board. So before you be so infatuated on black crime, worry about just crime in general.